Friday, everybody. Welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Chad Silver.
We made it to Friday.
We made it.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. You know, it's the start of a great weekend. I'm hoping the weather's going to be nice.
It sounds like it's going to be great. Eric Chilton is checking the radar. Eric, looks pretty nice so far.
Yeah, you know, so far, temperatures are up there a little bit today, and that sort of adds some fuel to the fire when it comes to late day thunderstorms. Just a quick check of this, and then we'll get to the radar. But 84 in Greensboro, 89 in High Point, Asheboro 87. You get the idea. Pinehurst at 91 degrees, even Mount Airy at 83. And we do expect overnight lows to be in the low 60s tonight. You know, this is going to be the type of situation as we low to mid 80s pretty much all the way through the weekend. But the thunderstorms started kicking up a little bit. Danville had a pretty strong one that was moving through. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this area. And you can see this is a severe thunderstorm warning. That's Caswell County. That'll probably expire, you know, in the next 20 minutes or so. These systems are moving pretty quickly, but that's going to head to the east there and head toward Henderson. I'm not sure if some of that will make it to the Durham area, but closer to home, south of Winston-Salem, you can see that right along 52 headed toward Lexington. We're seeing a shower there that's pretty heavy at times, maybe some lightning embedded in this. Louisville, Clemens area, that system is moving right through your region. Most of these are heading from the northwest back down to the southeast, so I would say Clemens in line for that next thunderstorm. When you look at a broader picture here, it is scattered across the area, and it is due to this cold front that's moving through. Good news is, after this gets through and we get through tonight, with a scattered thunderstorm or two, we should be in great shape for your Saturday and for your Sunday. How about lower humidity on Saturday and some low 80s? It's going to be very comfortable even for Father's Day. Things will change though as we head into next week, especially toward Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to talk about that in just a minute.
Right now, we're monitoring a federal lawsuit that could affect abortions in North Carolina. Abortion providers across the state filed the lawsuit challenging the state's 12-week abortion ban.
You'll remember the General Assembly overrode Governor Cooper's veto of the legislation that restricted when a woman can get an abortion. The abortion providers are asking a federal judge to block the ban, which is set to go into effect next month.
They argue the provisions in the bill are unclear and unconstitutional. Here's a look at how abortions would look like if the law goes into effect. First trimester abortions would still be allowed up to 12 weeks. In the case of rape or incest abortions would be allowed up to 20 weeks. It would go up to 24 weeks if the baby's life is at risk. And there would be no time limit on abortions if the mother's life is at risk.
Now, that bill also includes provisions for paid parental leave and expanded child care access.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. A Triad man is accused of killing his mom in Kernersville. Police arrested and charged Donald Fink with murder. They say he shot his mother to death on Monday at a home on Club Road. Right now, Fink is being held at the Forsyth County Detention Center with no bond. This is the third Triad homicide investigation this week that involves two family members.
Someone in Burlington died when a train hit them this morning. Police say the person was walking on the tracks around 8 a.m. Police haven't revealed the identity of the victim or why they were on the tracks.
Time is running out for Guilford County leaders to draw up a plan to address concerns within the Department of Social Services. The state cited the office for several violations related to the death of a child killed in a Greensboro fire. 3 children died in a fire on Grimsley Street back in December. Officials stated the county failed to properly assess the child's safety and do follow-ups. A Greensboro woman faces child abuse charges related to this case. She's due back in court later this month.
Guilford County Commissioners signed off on the next budget last night. There are a couple of highlights here. First, the increase in money to Guilford County schools will fund pay raises for its lowest paid employees. We got reaction today from a nutrition worker who's impacted.
I'm happy that we're making efforts to, help our, people and everything else as far as giving them, giving them their due. It's like the dedication to working in the school system with the kids and stuff is, it can't be discounted.
The budget also includes money to help the county recruit and retain workers. Finally, it does not include a property tax increase.
If you use food stamps, you may want to check your account. Triad investigators found more card skimming devices targeting EBT customers, this time at some businesses in Forsyth County. Experts say EBT cards are an easy target because the card number is not encrypted like a chip card and the skimmers can easily be attached to registers. Last year, Congress passed legislation allowing the government to replace stolen benefits. North Carolina's plan will not go into effect until August.
A familiar face in our state is set to be the next director of the CDC. The White House revealed today that President Biden chose Dr. Mandy Cohen. She was the face of our state's response to the pandemic. Cohen was the state health secretary for about 5 years before she left last year. She'll replace Dr. Rochelle Walensky, who's leaving at the end of the month.
Michael Jordan is selling his majority stake in the Charlotte Hornets. He's selling to the Buyer Group, which includes some big names like North Carolina natives J. Cole and Eric Church. Jordan has been the majority owner of the Hornets for 13 years. As a part of the transaction, Jordan will retain a minority ownership share of the team. Officials say the agreement is expected to be signed in the coming days.
A Google exec was at North Carolina A&T today to see a new technology space on campus. The so-called Google Annex will be a space for virtual exchange students who specialize in technology.
The gap that's being closed here, we're actually preparing like Black engineers, Black researchers, Black scientists to fill necessary jobs and to have robust careers in engineering and data science, artificial intelligence, as well as in machine learning.
A&T will also have a Google staff member in residency there. The annex opens in the fall.
Juneteenth celebrations are already underway in Greensboro. The holiday commemorates when the last African Americans in Texas learned they were freed from slavery. Though Juneteenth became a federal holiday in 2021, Greensboro began recognizing the day decades before. Patricia Fortune led the city's first Juneteenth festival in June of 1996. The entrepreneur and mother of two first learned about the holiday from her husband, who attended a Juneteenth picnic in Victoria, Texas in the 1950s.
And so she was going to teach you about it. She was going to make sure you were a part of it somehow. And the blessing in it all is that by us knowing, we were able to teach our kids because they still weren't learning it in school. So I think that's the blessing for us in it all.
Fortune ran the festival for several years. She passed in May of 2021, just 1 month before Juneteenth became a federal holiday. Tonight on WFMY News 2 at 6, we hear more from her family and the legacy she leaves behind. This weekend, you can check out one of the Juneteenth events in Greensboro. The Black Food Truck Festival is back for the third year. It's tomorrow at LeBauer Park in downtown Greensboro. It starts at 5 and ends at 11. And there are several local Juneteenth events like this weekend. Find a list searching Juneteenth on WFMYnews2.com.
So among those Juneteenth events around the area is a very special one in Winston-Salem. This festival is in its 19th year and is one of the best really in the Western Piedmont. I spoke with Cheryl Harry of the Triad Cultural Arts about what we can expect.
We're going to be here with music that's reflective of African American history and culture. We're going to have foods from the African American experience as well. We're going to have lots of educational experiences to let people know, where we are, where our history has come from.
So the event promises lots of fun, but Harry says that this really touches people on a different level than just a festival would.
It's very personal. I just know the toll, and the things that people endured when we think about the slave trade, and we think about this whole African diasporic experience. I think it's important for me that we pay homage to these people that fought for freedom, that we don't let them, that we don't forget about them.
She was really sure to emphasize that for her and all the people that are helping to plan the event, a festival's a festival, but it's the underlying message that really matters in this. I mean, yes, you'll have a great time, fun, and all that's there, but that underlying message, she said, still should be taught in schools the way it should.
Absolutely.
And it's really not.
Yeah, Juneteenth, I didn't learn about Juneteenth until I went to college because I was an African American Studies double major, but growing up as a child, I was not aware of this holiday. So I'm so glad we're having so many events like this locally and nationally, and for people to know it's for everyone.
It's true.
It's not just for one group of people, it's for all of us to learn, all of us to grow as a country.
She also, in my interview, she said, I also want to emphasize, we didn't have time to show all of it, but she said, I want to emphasize this is for black and white people. It's
Everyone,
not,
yeah.
It's for everybody, right? She said, this is not for just African American communities. This is for everybody to learn.
And if you've been watching the last couple of days, we've been highlighting some of the different food trucks that are going to be down at the Food Truck Festival, the Juneteenth Festival downtown this weekend. And they just had such high praise for the city of Greensboro and the Juneteenth organization for putting on this to help give exposure to Black-owned businesses.
I spoke to Councilwoman Sharon Hightower earlier this morning, and she was saying when they first started some of these Juneteenth festivals, it started off with 5 food trucks, and now this weekend we can expect 20. So that's just been huge to see it grow.
The growth is going. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. Stay there.
You're ready to say goodbye to all those hidden fees when you buy concert or sporting tickets.
There's actually a new policy that could be the first step toward getting costs under control.
There's no bad blood if you have a golden ticket to Taylor Swift this weekend in Pittsburgh.
I'm so excited.
39-year-old Swiftie superfan Laura Kelly paid $350 face value for hers.
And do you know how much you paid in hidden fees?
I have no idea.
And how does that make you feel, not knowing really how much the ticket actually was?
There's definitely a little bit of a sticker shock.
Hidden fees can add more than 20% to the price of tickets, from sporting events to concerts. We found a seat at Beyoncé's upcoming show in New Jersey for $146 face value. At checkout, more than $30 in fees were tacked on. Today at the White House, executives from Live Nation, SeatGeek, and other companies joined President Biden, pledging to provide the total cost of tickets up front.
This is a win for consumers, in my view, and proof that our crackdown on junk fees has real momentum.
It all comes in wake of the disastrous ticket launch for Swift's Eras tour last November. Outraged fans waited hours online before Ticketmaster suspended sales due to high demand and insufficient inventory. Brandon Ross is a media and technology analyst.
truly, it's a deceptive practice. And I think everyone in the industry recognizes that. And it's why I think Live Nation Ticketmaster is taking this leadership position.
While the artists and their teams keep most of the ticket price you pay, Ross says about 75% of those additional fees go to venues to pay for things like parking, security, and staff. A smaller portion is then given to Ticketmaster. This new all-in pricing will take effect this fall.
I have not been so happy about something the government has done in I don't know when.
Oh, wow.
I mean, this is something that plagues the industry of music and sporting events. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I buy tickets, it is a disaster. I get nervous when I have to do it.
You see one price, and then near the end, it might be a $50, $75 difference. Right. And I think as consumers, we just want transparency. You know, people want to go to the events, they're going to buy the tickets, but just be transparent with what the fees really are.
I can't tell you how many times I go and I'll go 2 tickets to this, and I'll take that, and I'll take this, and then at checkout, I'm like, nope, and I cancel it because as soon as I get, sometimes it's like $100 more.
Yeah.
It depends on what kind of seats you're getting.
Right. Do you remember when they did this with airlines? Airlines had a similar thing where you would see, you know, $400 for this flight. By the time you get to the end, it's up to $550. And then all of a sudden, the government stepped in and said, we're not doing this anymore because this is very deceptive practice.
Yep. It'll say tickets starting at $50 for a concert. They don't
Starting.
start at right. They don't start at $50.
Unless you want to be way far away, and even then, there's still going to be some type of hidden fee.
This is what our lawmakers are for. This is the kind of stuff that I fully support.
Getting the people results.
There we go.
I'll do that right now.
I'm running for president in 2024.
This message is endorsed by Chad Silver. We'll be right back. You know, this afternoon has sort of turned out exactly what we're talking about. It is a typical North Carolina summer day. Sunshine during the day, clouds start to develop toward the late afternoon, an isolated pop-up shower or two. In fact, if you look at temperatures, it's kind of telling here. Look at Danville at 76, but then Martinsville, not that far away, is 8 degrees warmer at 84. Guess who had a thunderstorm and who didn't? Yeah, so wherever it's isolated with our showers, but the heat is definitely there to cause this. Siler City at 89, it's 92 in Troy, 91 in Pinehurst, even 90 in Burlington. So we're hot out there. A couple of showers, though, now starting to cool things off. We've been watching to the north and to the east of us. That's technically heading out of our viewing area. That's actually Mecklenburg County, Virginia, not Charlotte. But all that is moving to the east. And then we see this in just to the south of Winston-Salem, from Clemens over to Walburg and Arcadia. You're getting a shower or two, and that will be heading to the east. So we'll watch for that to move into parts, possibly into Randolph County and Asheboro, maybe even Chatham County, getting a stray shower or two from that. Overall, it's part of this frontal boundary, but once that goes through, we have a beautiful weekend. So we're mid-80s today. We think we stay low to mid-80s through your weekend. Lower humidities for Saturday. Even on Father's Day, the rain chances are down or almost out. So it's looking good for Saturday, Sunday. Now Monday, things change a little bit. We'll get a low pressure system approaching from the west. It sort of gets trapped between several systems, meaning that it will sit over us and just sort of slowly crawl on to the east, and our rain chances are up there. So we're looking at those highs, low to mid 80s for the weekend. It's only a 20% chance you could see for that Sunday, and then Monday, 40%. Here we go as we head into next week. That's when our rain chances start to go on the increase again. A 50 to 60% chance through most of next week. High temperatures much cooler, 10 degrees plus, cooler than where they should be, in the mid 70s.
Check this out. A new report from Hotels.com is revealing some of the crazy room service requests from guests. They include diet water. Yeah, didn't know that was a thing. Melted ice cream, blowfish, boiled bottled water, cockle popcorn, a rice bowl for a dog, bison, no egg white omelet, eggless eggs, and a raw fish caught by a traveler who wanted it cooked to order. The study also found burgers are the most popular room service order globally, beating out pizza, club sandwiches, tacos, and fries. So I asked you all on Facebook, what's the strangest thing you've ever requested at a restaurant or a hotel? Carlton posted he likes his cognac warmed in the microwave for about 10 to 15 seconds before drinking. Linda said she requested not to be put next to the toilet in a restaurant. I get that. Jean says she asked for a different room all because she didn't like the number 13. And then Ron posted, I've never made any strange requests, but I received them all the time when I was working at a hotel. People really do, quite often might I add, end up getting locked out of their rooms, stark naked.
Oh,
I can
no.
definitely believe that.
I can believe that too. Well, I don't know. I'm thinking about it though. What are you running out in the hall real quick to grab something? The door closed. Like, why are you out in the hall?
Maybe running to someone else's room.
Or like the ice machine, but still, like you should still have clothes on.
That is true, because I was thinking, I know when I was in college and I lived in a dorm, I got locked out of my room when I went to go take a shower because my roommate had taken, and I didn't have my key, locked it and left and went to class.
Oh my God.
But that's a different situation because the bathroom wasn't in the room.
Right.
So
And
the room,
for-
bathroom is in the room.
You still had clothes, right? Like
I had a
cover-
towel.
towel.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is funny. That
That's
is funny.
very
And
funny.
now with security cameras everywhere, you got to be very careful if you're going to do that. I know we went on vacation once and my aunt went with us, and we were in a hotel room that had, used to back in the day for a handicap room, the bathroom has like a rail, right? But
Yeah.
they wouldn't have a door so that wheelchairs could get through.
Okay.
So there's no door on the bathroom. And I was a kid, I was like 10 years old. I was running in and out of that room all the time. My aunt said, about 10 times you've caught me when I'm sitting on the toilet and Eric's running in and out of that room. She said, can we please change rooms? She thought somebody would be walking down the hall and peek in and see her.
So my only story about room service that I am willing to share, we were in the Bahamas with some friends when I was in college, and I came back to the room early. I was tired. I called room service, ordered a burger. By the time the burger got there, I was already passed out.
Oh, that
because
happened to me.
It takes
Yes.
a while. So my friends came home like a couple hours later, saw me sleeping, saw the burger. They were hungry, ate the burger, and then put my hand on the plate to make it look like if I were to wake up,
Like
I
you
would see
ate it?
that I
That's
did eat it in my
hilarious.
sleep.
That's hilarious. That is
I'm sure that
hilarious.
happens a lot at all-inclusive
Oh, yeah,
hotels
for
because
sure.
when I went to Mexico, we got back at the room at like 2 in the morning. I was like, I want a cheeseburger. We never ate it because we fell asleep.
No, yeah, it takes them forever sometimes. All right, we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back.
User error, Brad. That's on you. You can try to say that's on me, but that's on you. Mic check 1.
Welcome back to the 4 to 5, everybody. Eric Chilton here with Chad Silver and Lauren Coleman.
You said some storms are on the way. I can see some raindrops out on the camera there.
We have a couple. Most of it has moved onto the east, but we can't rule it out for the next several hours. So we're going to be keeping an eye on the radar.
Okay, Eric, thanks. One of the big stories we're following this afternoon, a really grim milestone involving a horrific accident on the Dan River. You might remember this 2 years ago today. A family of 9 was tubing on the river when they went too far going over a Duke Energy dam. Only 4 of them survived. A couple days after the tragedy, one of the survivors told us they didn't realize there was a dam until it was too late. Some of them held onto branches as they watched their loved ones get swept away. Some of them were in the water for nearly a full day before they were rescued. Rescue teams wouldn't find the final victim for another 3 weeks. Today, county leaders stressed the importance of water safety.
The raft itself is not a personal flotation device. People need to wear that personal flotation device to ensure their safety. Should that raft be pierced, then they are able to float to safety down the river.
At the time of the accident, there were signs posted warning of the dam, but some said they just weren't noticeable enough. Since then, Duke Energy, Rockingham County, and the Dan River Keeper posted larger signs in English and Spanish. The accident is still under investigation. Family of the victims sued Duke Energy, but that lawsuit is still pending.
Watching some isolated storms and showers across central North Carolina. I'm going to show you that radar in just a minute. Just a quick look as we head into the evening. We'll probably get into those upper 70s by 7:30 or so tonight, dropping down to the 60s for overnight lows, probably lower 60s before we see high temperatures again, low to mid 80s over the next several days. All right, some storms here. The heaviest storm we've seen earlier was around Martinsville, Danville area. That has moved on to the east. They are moving along at a pretty good clip here. So let's go in tighter to this one shower, and that's from Pleasant Garden over to Groomtown Road area, maybe down toward Freeman Mill. We're seeing some showers there, but really the heaviest here is around the Welcome area, and that is since it's all moving on to the east and east-southeast, we'll say. I would say Thomasville, you're next in line. I mean, probably less than about 15 minutes or so, if not. You're already getting some rain, but the heavier shower activity is heading in your direction. And when we go back out to a wider shot here, you see how widely scattered there are. There's not really one big area that's seeing a whole lot unless you go all the way up to Virginia toward Norfolk. They're seeing some pretty rough thunderstorms that way. For us, though, once this cold front slips down to the south, and that'll happen on our Saturday, we're looking great for this weekend. Lower humidity and 83 on Saturday. We go up to 85 on Sunday. The rain chance on Father's Day is really just negligible. That's 20%. Next week, things change. 40 to 50% chance of rain Monday through Thursday. Temperatures will cool to the mid 70s Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. In some cases, that's 10 or 11 degrees below our normal high for this time of the year, and we'll hold that for a few days before getting back to 80 by Friday of next week.
Residents across the south central parts of the United States are surveying the damage following severe storms. At least 3 people were killed when a tornado tore through the town of Perryton, Texas, near the Oklahoma border. And the town suffered extensive damage. Another person was killed in Florida after a tornado caused a tree to topple on top of a home.
In just minutes, a powerful tornado shredded homes in Perryton, Texas, leaving a mangled mess of mattresses and furniture behind. This mobile home park now unrecognizable as what's left of one home burns. Neighbors climb through rubble.
This whole area is just white now.
Driving through the city, you can see the widespread damage. This video captured the twister picking up speed as it tossed debris into the air.
And this is City Hall right here. So we're seeing lots and lots of damage.
Emergency officials say at least 3 people were killed and more than 50 were injured. 2 people are still missing.
Hey, get back in, Tanner.
Crews with our CBS affiliate KFDA immediately took cover as the twister touched down. This tornado is one of 10 reported across the South, all part of a dangerous system that whipped up record rainfall, lightning, and powerful wind. Wind so strong that one person died after a tree fell on their home in Pensacola, Florida. The city shattered its more than 30-year-old rainfall record, with more than 9.3 inches of rain falling in just hours. In Lawton, Oklahoma, families are surveying the damage after a tornado and a heavy mix of wind and hail slammed the area.
I opened the door and the debris fell in.
Jason Tarrant moved into his new apartment Thursday morning. just hours before the tornado hit. Now he says he's living in a pile of debris.
I've been here less than 24 hours. I ran inside, got my dog, went to the bathtub, and we waited it out.
At last check, almost 500,000 customers are without power across the South.
Let's get your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up today, Pope Francis is out of the hospital where he's been for the last 9 days. He left in a wheelchair, smiling and waving to a crowd. The 86-year-old pontiff had surgery to repair a hernia and remove scarring from previous operations.
At least one major U.S. government agency and several private institutions have fallen victim to cyber criminals who are demanding ransom for stolen data. The hackers, a Russian-linked ransomware group, infiltrated a popular file-sharing app to gain access to the sites. Targets include the Energy Department, as well as Johns Hopkins affiliated hospitals in Maryland and Florida, and the Minnesota Department of Education, just to name a few. Right now, officials say U.S. military and intelligence agencies do not appear to be impacted by the breach.
If you've done a Google search and clicked on a results link between 2006 and 2013, you might be able to collect some of a $23 million settlement. It's part of a lawsuit that says the tech giant violated users' privacy by sharing their search terms to third-party websites. Now, claims must be made online in the next 6 weeks, and don't assume this is a huge payday. The website says the average payout, $7.70. Google continues to deny the allegations.
WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey here. Now, the Wake Forest baseball team, they're looking for the perfect ending to an outstanding season. The Diva Deacons are in Omaha, Nebraska, getting ready for the 2023 College World Series. Now, the last time Wake was in the College World Series was way back in 1955 when they won it all. And today I spoke with someone with a very special connection to that team. Zach White, he pitched at Wake Forest from 2009 to 2012, while the Deeks, they didn't make an NCAA tournament appearance during that time. His grandfather, Bob Kuntz, was a catcher for Wake on the 1955 national championship team.
I remember vividly in 2005, it was the 50th anniversary. Nobody in the ACC had won a national championship in baseball since 55 at that point. And so Wake actually brought all the surviving members at that point in for a dinner, and I remember going to that, and I think they ended up giving them a ring or a watch at that point because that's not something they had given them back in the 50s.
Now, it's been 68 years since Wake last made the trip to Omaha and brought home the national championship, but this time at least one of the men who helped write that chapter of Wake baseball history is in Omaha to see the boys do it once again.
I'm so glad that he's getting to go out there. I mean, it's been a long time coming for them. They were really a couple outs short of really doing it in 2017. And so them getting out there and getting to see that, and I'm really hoping that Wake makes it to the final so I can get out there next weekend and experience this with him.
Yeah, guys, so it's been almost 70 years since Bob Kuntz was last in Omaha, and thanks to Zach's parents, he's there rooting on his Deeks just like he does pretty much every home game of the year at Wake Forest. They take on Stanford tomorrow at 2 p.m., so we're going to be ready to root on our Deeks.
Wow, that's
hopefully
awesome.
They bring home that national
I'm
title.
really excited about this now. It's big when you got a home team, and even if it's not like where you went to college, the fact that that's our local major university, that's really cool.
And if he hasn't been to Omaha in 68 years, he should know it's changed a bit.
Yeah, and so Zach told me that his grandfather still remembers specifically what hotel they stayed in. They Googled it to see if it's still in existence. It's not a hotel now, but it is an apartment complex.
Okay.
So Zach's, his plan is to get there if they make it to the championship series, for him to get there and join his grandfather, and they're going to do a little tour and hopefully
I love
check
that.
some things.
I think that you should follow along for the story.
I think that would be a great story.
We're typing up an email, send it to the boss.
That's right. Get it up the chain.
Well, from college baseball to the majors, there's some controversy surrounding the Oakland A's. Maybe you've heard about this. The team has been in Northern California for 55 years, but that's likely coming to an end. The team is in the process of moving to Las Vegas. Nevada's governor just signed a bill securing $380 million to build a new ballpark on the Strip. As you can imagine, many Oakland fans are not happy. They held what's called a reverse boycott. Fans backed out of the stadium and threw garbage onto the field.
I don't think they ever wanted to be here. Honestly, it's such a diverse city, and I think it scares It scares the owners. It scares the people that don't understand Oakland. It's been kind of a you never know type of thing, you know. And today is kind of more of a like, it's just kind of overwhelming, and like you have a lot of anger and rage.
We're out here supporting, making sure that people know that it's not us, it's ownership.
We believe in the Oakland A's, and they should stay in Oakland, and we think that they should sell, make them sell.
Now, fans know the team will likely be sold, but they're hoping to pressure the team into selling to someone who would keep the team in Oakland. Now, the sale to move to Nevada isn't official yet. Major League Baseball still has to approve it. I mean, we see this sometimes, right? Yeah. Teams move, and typically it's because of money, right? Like, so maybe you don't have enough fans going, maybe there's a better opportunity. I wonder if maybe the Golden Knights, you know, their ability to make money in Las Vegas helped spur other teams to look at Las Vegas.
Yeah. I was thinking that the other day because I don't think of Vegas as being a major market, it's just a major attraction. How many people really live in Vegas? But apparently, I mean, if they can support an NHL team that goes all the way to the Stanley Cup, then yeah, maybe so.
And they also have the Las Vegas Aces out there, a WNBA team. They've won the championship as well. But I would hate to see the team leave Oakland too. Just everything, all the sports teams have left Oakland at this point. You know, the Warriors, they moved to San Francisco. The Raiders, they're in Vegas, and now if they lose the Athletics as well.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it's a combination of things. They can't get a new stadium. That's why the Raiders left, and the A's, they share a stadium. They've been playing in the same stadium since the 80s. They can't get a new stadium. The attendance hasn't been great, but the product on the field hasn't been great. But the fans in Oakland are diehard, and they show that, and they prove that whenever they show up.
It's sad to see like a long-time team that's been there forever go.
It's heartbreaking.
But boy, to see a baseball team on the Strip in Las Vegas, that's going to be wild.
I'm interested.
Yeah, we'll be right back. You don't need me to tell you the pandemic, the Great Resignation, and corporate layoffs have pushed lots of people to non-traditional forms of employment.
CBS's Dana Backus explains why independent professionals are increasing in the workforce.
When Danny Owens was laid off from his job this year, he immediately started looking for a new one and decided against traditional employment.
I'm freelancing for a couple different projects and/or brands, nothing full-time.
The creative producer is a part of a growing trend in the workforce referred to as independent professionals. A newly released freelance economic impact report shows there's an estimated 6.7 million independent professionals or freelancers in the U.S.
We're seeing a lot more demand for a different kind of work-life balance.
Siobhan Alders is with Fiverr, a job placement site for freelancers that is behind the research.
We're seeing a lot of people looking for more flexibility in the work that they're doing and more control. Being their own boss is important to them.
According to Fiverr, freelancers earned an estimated $286 billion in 2022, a nearly 10% increase from 2021. 80% of those surveyed say having multiple sources of income provides a greater security than relying on a single employer. And 34% looking for full-time work want to keep a side hustle even if they find a full-time role.
You get to kind of step in, do the project, finish it, and then leave, which can be like really great.
For now, Owens enjoys being able to pick and choose his jobs and isn't sure he wants to return to a 9-to-5 job. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
It's funny that we're running this story today because I was just talking with a friend from college about just work-life balance and just how the last several years you really reflected on what you want with your life. And she is actually working from home virtually now, and we were talking about just different ways you can maybe work for yourself. You know, it's just a different feeling of having to work for someone else, and when you work for yourself, you can, you know, set your own time scale, I guess.
I think at the beginning of your career and at the end you might be able to do that, but for me, being in the middle with kids, I couldn't. It would be really difficult for me to not have a dependable income and know that one month you could have killer money and the next month you may have nothing.
Yeah,
that would be tough for me.
I feel that way about my situation being under 65. Once I retire, whenever that year is, you know, you probably take Ubers and Lyfts often, like I do, and you talk to a lot of the drivers who are retired, and they just kind of do it as a side hustle.
Just to have something to do.
And to get out of the house. So I think that is probably a big driver of that as well.
It's true. It's true. All right, we'll be right back. Stay there. You know, we all have our opinions on what's right and what's wrong, but there is a fact that the official state beverage for North Carolina is milk. It was established by the General Assembly back in the 80s, but we want to know if they made the right decision. Some could argue should be Cheerwine. I mean, why not? Every year the city of Salisbury has this big festival dedicated to that cherry-flavored soda. Cheerwine was created in Salisbury in 1917 by a man named L.D. Peeler. More than 100 years later, that drink is still going strong. And if that didn't sway you, how about this? The Noda Brewing Company in Charlotte has their own Cheerwine Ale. The two partnered to create it this year. The company describes it like Cheerwine with a little kick, and it could soon be coming to a store near you, almost like a Cheerwine beer, so to speak. So I asked you on Facebook, what do you think the state drink should be? James Thornberry says Cheerwine is the only acceptable answer. Eileen Pendleton said sweet tea because everybody knows that's a Southern thing. Except if you're from where I am, you should say thang, a Southern thing. Gary Thompson said Sundrop. Hadn't heard that one before. Arlette Porter said, well, now the state just legislated muscadine grape juice in all schools, but I would go with Pepsi, originated in New Bern. Stephanie White says she'll go with red wine. That'd be the state drink of North Carolina. And Candace Lee says, she did drop some knowledge for us. She said the General Assembly adopted milk as the official state beverage on June the 12th, 1987. At that time, North Carolina cows produced 179 million gallons of milk a year. I didn't know until today that milk was the state drink. I didn't know there was such a thing.
I learned that a couple weeks ago or months ago when Tanya did a segment talking about how milk was the state drink.
I'd have to share this with Pepsi and Cheerwine if I had to ask. I don't know if you can do two.
I'm thinking Mountain Dew.
Really?
Just because you drink it every day, and I just think of you as the face of North Carolina.
The diet Mountain Dew drinker.
I'd probably go with Cheerwine because I feel like that's like our cult drink. Like people who live in even some nearby states have never heard of it.
Yeah, never heard of it. It is truly local.
It's very, very true. I get excited when I knew I was coming to North Carolina because I was like, oh, they have Cheerwine there because I hadn't had it too many times prior to that.
Well, a lot of people that aren't from here, they think it's actual wine. And I'm like, no, it's not an alcoholic beverage. Yeah.
And it's funny, so you can go to like Cookout, get a Cheerwine float. And Tanya was just telling me actually about, there's a place, I'm going to Asheville this weekend, there's a place in Asheville where you can get a Cheerwine slushie.
Ooh,
that sounds
delicious.
I love that.
Maybe you could mix some wine in there too.
Might be
or whatever you want.
That's right. We'll see. All right, if we have time, we'll check our forecast and see what's going on with that. So some changes coming up, but not until we get into next week. I mean, through the weekend, it was kind of the same old, same old. We're really keeping mostly right now all eyes on the radar, especially between Davidson and Randolph County. We've seen a heavier thunderstorm cell here. This was starting to pick up a little bit, just moved past Thomasville. So if you have to be heading along 85, maybe heading south there, that's going to be something to watch out for. Between 109 and over to Sophia, that's where we're seeing the heavier rains right now. Could see lightning strikes within that and even some wind gusts as well. This one has moved on to the east. It was just around Pleasant Garden just a few moments ago, but overall, the broader picture with this, we're not just seeing a whole lot of it. It's very isolated, and it's only that 30% chance that we talked about today. We'll be dry tomorrow. Nice, 83 degrees Father's Day, 20% chance, and a high of 85.
Before we go, a quick update about a story we told you about last month. Remember the Florida professor living underwater? Well, Dr. Deep Sea is back on the mainland. The professor resurfaced earlier this week. Last month, he broke the Guinness World Record at 73 days, but vowed to keep going until he hit 100 days.
The professor said he did it for research to see how the human body would react. His daily routine consisted of naps, exercising, teaching classes, and eating meals prepared in a microwave. Last month, he said the first thing he was going to eat when he got back above water, a cheeseburger. We'll be right back.
Time. His grandfather, Bob Kuntz, was a catcher for
Yeah, we can do it. We can make it happen. It's a Friday. We're going to do all that stuff.
Hello. 1, 2, 3. Cheeseburger in paradise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, it's time for my 2 cents. By the way, happy Friday. But for me, yesterday was happy Thursday. So, you know, I talk about the beach music community, how close-knit they are. And usually I'm talking about the fans, and they passed it down generation to generation along with the dance, the shag. But this time I'm talking about the musicians and the bands. A lot of us know each other because there aren't that many of us left, and we play these gigs sometimes back-to-back, same bands. We've seen each other at gigs over and over. And you know we're close. But yesterday, one band who was special to me, Part-Time Party Time Band, I used to go to see all the time in the 90s, became friends with a couple of the musicians there. In fact, back in those days, their saxophone player was my insurance agent. So I've known them for a long time, and they have been together for 40 plus years, 4 decades of entertaining not only the Triad, but regionally across the Southeast. And they're the only legendary beach music band based out of the Triad, Trinity High Point area. So we were at the Beach Music Festival, the Town Bank Beach Music Festival yesterday, and I've been emceeing all of these. You've seen the sights and sounds from these over the last few months. It's just wonderful to see it back in person. But yesterday, Part-Time Party Time Band gave me the honor of calling me up on stage and asking me to sing. It had been about 1.5 years since Eric and the Chilltones last performed on the stage. And this was super special to not only have a chance to perform again, but to sing with one of the greatest beach music bands locally that we've ever seen. So I just want to say thank you. Beach music community, keep passing this down, stay close-knit, and beach music musicians, thank you for all of us taking care of each other. But that's just my 2 cents, and that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
2 years ago today, a family went tubing on the Dan River. 5 of them died. The changes made since then to keep people safe.
Multiple cars broken into in a downtown Winston-Salem parking garage.